Folks, MaximumRD here. Yes, I'm still alive. Barely. So here's the thing. What happens when your ISP is having some problems and your internet actually goes out for about an hour and a half? Well, if you're like me, you disconnect from the hive mind and suddenly realize where you are and decide to do a video because you haven't done one in a long time. And that's exactly what I did. Since I couldn't connect online to any of my forums or Facebook groups or anything like that, I thought I just started pulling stuff out of my closet to do this video. It's a little bit of a follow-up, I guess you could say. Back July 14th, 2015, I think I did a video called something like Tales from Electronics Recycling or something like that. I'll link to that one and you'll see what was in that. And basically the concept being our local electronics recycling, which I pretty much raid and see what I come up with. And it was a new discovery for me. It had always been there and I just hadn't realized that, you know, people were depositing perfectly good and usable items in there. And since that discovery, now it's been like over a year or whatever, so since my last video, and in that video I showed you I got like a television and an old computer and stuff like that. The TV was great because it was an old 14-inch color RCA with a great picture on it and just excellent. You guys can relate obviously to a retro classic gaming collector like myself with you know, pre-NES consoles like the ColecoVision and Atari 2600. So being able to hook up to a display that accepts RF input, you know, this is besides the whole point of modding and getting a composite AV outputs and stuff like that. That's a whole separate area. But sometimes I just like to be able to take my original console, hook it up the way it was meant to be played, and have at it. So to come across, you know, a perfectly good working color 14-inch television with a great display on it, as these things are becoming more and more rare these days, that's pretty cool. But yeah, so you can go back and check out that video if you hadn't seen that one initially. And I'm following up with this video. I guess I intended it to be a series or something like that, but just not, you know, I haven't been posting a lot of videos lately, but here we are. I'll follow up with pretty much all the stuff I've found since then. There's a lot of little items here and there like cables and things like that I won't get into much, but here's the really good stuff that I've found since then, and I will tell you why I've kept them and why I'm, you know, deciding what I'm going to do with them, so on and so forth. I don't want to get into the whole thing about if you're interested, sell or trade. I'm just so booked up in trying to sort out my collection right now that I'm not getting into any of that at this time. But anyways, here we go. Let's have a look. First of all, this I just got the other day actually. So let's take a look at this. This is a nice Sony mini system, and I will tell you, for all these products that I find, pretty much I expect, you know, maybe I'll plug it in, it won't work, I'll have to change a fuse or do some diagnostics. I find that pretty much 90% of everything I find works perfectly. So, you know, for whatever reasons, people just discard things. I know they figure it's obsolete, but hey, you're talking to me, a classic gamer, someone who likes to tinker. I know a lot of you guys, my audience, can relate. And, you know, I watch a lot of channels from you guys that, you know, find things kicked to the curb and put out in dumpsters and all that kind of stuff that are perfectly usable. And it's great to watch those videos. So I'd like to show you the items that I've found. This one just the other day, as I mentioned. Really nice Sony mini system here. Got your tuner, double cassette deck, which, you know, whatever. I guess I have a ton of old cassettes. I'm not going to pull them out of storage, but it's there. Of course, a CD player, you know, wonderful speakers, and best of all, it actually included batteries at full power, the remote control for everything. Plugged it in, checked it all out. seems to be working perfectly from everything I can see so far. So that is pretty awesome. Okay, so moving on, this was a real surprise. You have to keep in mind, I do have an Intel-based desktop at home as our main computer, and pretty much what I found here is much better. Like, don't get me wrong, it's nothing compared to what a lot of you guys have out there. I have an Intel E6750 CPU and like a GTS 250 video card, whatever. Here's what I found. And interestingly enough, the processor is still on there. They had removed the heat sink and the, I guess most of the paste and everything. But that is actually, my eyes popped out of my head when I saw, that's a Core i7 processor. Now again, let's be just, you know, I had to settle down for a bit until I looked it up. So I believe this is one of the very early Core i7 processors. It's like the 950. So in comparison, in, you know, I guess like the first run that came out in comparison to the ones out today, it's very, it's quite a resource hog, takes a lot of voltage and all that stuff like that. Yes, it's better than what I'm currently running and all that, but I really don't want to increase our, the wattage per month or whatever. I'm still tinkering and deciding on things, but I can't say if it works. Thing is, I don't have a spare power supply in case and everything like that. That's not a complaint. I'm not whining or anything like that. I would like to test it, but I, got to be careful. I don't want to stick hardware. Like, first of all, this is it DDR4? I think no, it's DDR3. Even my desktop is on the old DDR2, so unfortunately I couldn't plug it in, which sucks because I only have 4 GB. And here we have, these are 2 GB modules, so 246, 12 gigabytes total. What is it? It's Corsair Dominator RAM, 12 gigs. Oh man, I'd love to use that for virtual desktops and things like that, and Chrome. Chrome browser, so I can open up more tabs. No, just kidding. But yeah, it's an interesting EVGA board. I was just so surprised to see this. Now, chances are this board probably doesn't work, but again, I want to diagnose and verify that. Also with it, and I assumed it was all, I found it all in the same day. So you can imagine my surprise, how shocked I was. These 2 video cards. Now again, I have a GTS 250. I prefer NVIDIA myself. And these are also NVIDIA's Twin Frozer 2, a really weird name, MSI. And these are, what are they? They are these are 470 GTX. 470s. So again, obviously, a little better than what I'm running with the 250. I don't do a lot of serious PC gaming or anything like that, but I do like running virtual desktops and trying different OSs and video editing and stuff like that. So I thought, man, that would be an improvement. I figure what he had is, obviously he had both these identical cards. I'm sure he was running them in SLI. And, I don't tinker with overclocking or SLI or anything like that. But I took a chance, and I did plug each one in, and this one here got a display, ran perfectly. No problems, no issues. Now keep in mind, I made a image of my operating system before I pulled my card out and stuck in a new card and all that stuff. So, had a different, slightly different drivers and everything, but ran beautifully, no problems, fine. Pulled that out, plugged in this identical card, could not get a display. So I've labeled it, because they're identical so I can tell them apart, I've labeled it as bad. But I tried everything, both connectors, and I simply cannot get a display. The fans run, it's quiet, just cannot get a display. But with this identical card, and I tried both the ports. I didn't try the mini HDMI, which I think that is, but trying the 2 regular ports there, or older ports, no problem. Got a display on both monitors. Worked fine. This one, no. So I don't know what the problem is. It could be just bad caps or whatever. But again, I'm sure you know, this person running in an SLI mode, once it didn't work, you know, they were saying, well, screw it. They just threw everything out at once. So I don't know if the board works. I don't know if the CPU works, the memory, anything like that. I'd love to test the memory, but again, and beef it up in my current desktop. But as I said, this is, I believe, DDR3. I'm running old DDR2, so I can't do that. But in the meantime, I'll hold on to it, see what else comes down the pipeline. But I thought that's pretty cool. A 970 processor, Core i7 950 I meant, and it's so much better than my E6750 Core 2 Dual. But yeah, surprising stuff I found. That's pretty cool. So I got this sitting. This is just to prevent static as I move it elsewhere. Over here, I'm not putting it right on the blanket. It's on a board there. So moving on, here's something else, which again, going back to being really into retro gaming consoles and RF adapters and stuff like that. You know, a lot of people, they're like, hey, how can I hook up this old Atari 2600 or ColecoVision to a modern display, you know, without modding it or resorting to that? Well, a lot of times you'll get the answer. You can get an RF demodulator, which, you know, it's going to be pricey and depending on the quality of the one you get. But of course, we had good ones built in right into our old VHS decks, DVD recorders, things like that. So, you know, worst comes to worst, if I can't hook it up directly to a display, you can simply hook it up to the RF coaxial input right there. And then, of course, you have your standard composite outputs. And so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I found this. It's a Magnavox, apparently a 4-head VCR, and a DVD player. So I thought that was pretty cool. No remote. And unfortunately, the inputs here only say composite video in and one audio. But, which I thought was kind of odd. Looking at the back, what do we have? Yeah, left and right audio out for the DVD. So that's good. I don't know why the input would only have the VCR audio. I see. So the VCR appears to be mono, which is, you know, again, kind of weird. But look, you got S-video out, coaxial, digital out, audio out, composite out, so no problem. Always good, as I said, to hook up an old console to a newer display that doesn't have the RF or coaxial input. So that's cool. Got that. And then, on top of that, oh, here's a remote. Now this is Sony DVD. I didn't find the player for this one, but I was thinking it could be one of those smart programmable remotes. I might be able to use it with something else. But here's another one. This one's even better. Now keep in mind, for the two combo DVDs, video players, I haven't had a chance to try them out yet. Now this one is an RCA 4-head hi-fi stereo VCR with, again, a DVD combo unit, which is great. So, and this one does have both inputs for left and right audio and composite video. Excellent. RCA jack, as other people. Oh, well, that doesn't sound good, does it? Guessing there might be a problem with this one. Well, that's okay. I haven't checked it yet. Sometimes you just open it up and it's an easy fix. But anyways, have not tested either of the VHS decks. And your standard hookups at the back and everything. But yeah, interesting. Maybe someone already attempted to repair it, I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see. Never say never. Also, let's see, a D-Link router. Yeah, I'm perfectly happy with the router we have, but I'll play around, see if that works. And yes, it did come with the adapter to plug it in. And various. Well, this is what I'm really surprised. Of course, I always find all kinds of, you know, Ethernet cables. And then I find them like this, still in the package. And sometimes they're just great to replace my current ones, which may be worn out, or, you know, that little tab on top broke or something like that. Again, one that looks like it's never ever even been used. Sure, I'll take it. Coaxial cable ones that are definitely of a better quality are standard than mine. Remember, I did replace one of my cables like this for one of my VCRs one time, and the picture was vastly improved afterwards, because I guess the one that I was using was a much cheaper low grade cable. So always good to keep those around and switch them. But as you can see, I find a lot of them. Here's what I was really surprised. You know, got the protective caps on both ends. It's like, I guess again, probably never used. Perfect condition HDMI cable. So now, speaking of HDMI, that's the funny thing. I've started finding these cables and extras, and you know, I don't have any modern consoles or anything like that. I don't have anything that requires HDMI display or output or anything like that. So I find the cables, and look, here's another one, another HDMI cable with the protective caps on it. So probably never used. Some more good coaxial cables. Alright, all kinds of adapters. I find these all the time. I keep them around. Composite cables. Stereo AV. Excellent. I usually find, when I pick up other items, I usually find an adapter I need just by checking the rating and going through these extras that I have. Really cool. So that's great. But here's the funny thing, again, going back to the whole HDMI thing. I have, you know, no current modern consoles. I don't need anything that displays HDMI, and yet I find the cables, and I even found this. This was the real shocker. Well, I shouldn't say nothing. I have this little Android, cheap Android box thing that has HDMI output, but I had bought a HDMI to VGA adapter, and I was using that instead. But sure enough, I find this. Now, I don't have the pedestal to actually hold it properly. But other than that, I did check it. Insignia, that's one of the cheaper companies, you know. But again, I'm not looking a gift horse in the mouth. It's free, I like to tinker, and it lets me use things that I didn't have otherwise. But other than that, a pretty cool monitor. Checked it, it's working. You have VGA, DVI, PC component, HDMI 2, USB connector, all kinds of things. So it's a pretty cool monitor. What size is it? I'm not even sure. It's like, I don't know, 15 or 17 inch or something like that. But I think it's 19 inch. And sure enough, I had, and this was from an old, I marked it HDMI monitor, but this is actually a Linksys power adapter, and I compared the ratings and voltages with all the ratings here, plugged it in, and worked perfectly. So that's cool. I have the monitor, I have the cable. You know, I don't have, you know, anything really worth hooking up to it besides that cheap little Android box. But again, these are all just things to play around with and goof around and decide what I'm going to do with at a later date. As I said, I always like finding extra cables and adapters and you know, composite cables, stereo cables, RCA cables. If they're better quality than the ones I'm currently using, then I switch them out. That's it. So I'm a collector, I'm a tinkerer, I'm you know, classic gamer, as you guys all know. So I find these things, check them out, throw it in with the rest of the collection. We'll see what happens. But kind of cool. Kind of cool. I thought all these items. Oh, let me close. I'll close on this. I almost forgot. See, I would have ended this video and thought, oh God, I forgot to show you this. And this was actually I found before the other Sony mini stereo. I found this one. This Sony mini stereo system. Get a better look. But as you can see, I've already integrated it with our TV and everything. So it's a newer one because, you know, it has MP3 capability, CDs, tuner, AM/FM tuner. Probably won't be able to, if I can figure this out. I got the computer hooked up through it, and silly me, now I can't figure out how to open it. Behind this panel here is cassette deck, but I can't figure out how to open it right now. I've forgotten, and it's because I haven't used it yet. But this one definitely works. Didn't have a remote for that one, unfortunately, but maybe one of the smart remotes or X remotes I found. I can program it and figure out the code or whatever. So yeah, 2 Sony mini stereo systems. Got the speakers down there under the computer hutch. So there you go. So that's it. That's the follow-up to my Tales of Electronics Recycling items that I've found, and I think I'm gonna go check out that VCR now and see what's loose inside, see if that works or not. So that's it. My internet was out. I decided to do this video, catch you up on the items that I've found and pillaged, and that's it. All right, so Rob, MaximumRD out. Oh, I do have a beer tasting coming. A lot of you guys, you know that we went to Cuba recently. The plan was to do a couple videos while in Cuba. Well, you know, we were on vacation, having fun, drinking, partying, and I just didn't feel like doing any of the connected stuff or doing videos or anything like that. But I did bring a couple beers home, and I've already filmed beer, sorry, not review, but tasting, as I do. I don't call them reviews because I'm no reviewer. But a lot of you guys, like Jughead82 and stuff like that, yeah, you like it when I do the beer tastings. So I'll have that up, hopefully sometime soon as well. Alright, so Rob, MaximumRD out. Thanks again, as always, for watching. You guys who have stuck with me all these years. Oh my God, I started this in 2008. But that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.